All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ashland Planning Board meeting of Thursday, April 9th. I'd like to remind everyone that the meeting is being broadcast and recorded. I will call the meeting to order at 7:16. And going to the next thing on our agenda is the chair clerk's report, but I do not have one this evening. And then we have public comment, and I imagine, given a glance at who's in the room and who's on the screen, that all comments are related to projects, but I will open it up to public comment if there's anyone out there. Are you still letting people in?
Nobody's in.
Okay. All right, then, seeing none, we are being very efficient and are already at item 4. Woohoo! So, item 4, public meetings. So first on our agenda are 2 ANRs, I believe. They're the same applicant, right? One is for 37 James Road, one is for 137 Pond Street. Jasmine, do you have any introduction to these, or do you want to let Mr. Connors just introduce the project?
If Mr. Connors could introduce it, I think he would do a good job of covering what he's seeking. I will absolutely do that. Which one would you like to start with?
And these are the,
Which one would you like me to share first on Zoom? Which plan would you like first up on the screen?
Either one.
well, we do 137 since just it's the first on the list here. Oh, these were just the, sorry, these were the signature copies, I assume. It'll be easier to look at the paper copies than these.
These are A&R plans that where the road exists and the frontage is adequate for access.
You're actually gonna, I was gonna say, we need a. Are you gonna talk from there? instead of
Wherever
the
you
podium?
want. I can go back up.
Yeah, I think so, we can look at it on here. Thanks, Angel.
That's what I have up. This one's 37.
Awesome.
This is James Road. Okay, this is the larger parcel, 123 Pond Street and 37 James Road. You can see James Road is a little L-shaped lot, a roadway at the top part of the plan. The parcel is about 11 acres, and it is a parcel that has little individual pieces that were cut out on a previous plan for reasons we do not know by McCarthy and Sullivan. But those are all basically merged for zoning purposes. And this is an A&R plan showing the totality of the property for two reasons. The first is because of transferring. We're going to be selling the, we're going to be acquiring the property, and the deeds were very vague and complex with all those parcels, so we have a single parcel of this particular site. And the second reason is that it will protect use of zoning for 3 years. You can see that there's access from James Road to an existing house that is now empty. It's still a viable house at the end there, yeah. And then the rest of the property is an old abandoned construction yard use in the back of the property to the left and upper left-hand part of the plan. It's all wetlands. And then there's a sewer and water easement that comes in along James Road and continues into the condos behind the property. And that has a sewer line and a water line which will be maintained in that location. So this is simply an A&R plan to advise the Register of Deeds that they can record this plan and that there's no subdivision involved.
So, and then can you go on just to explain what the other one is?
Pardon me?
Can you go on to explain what the other one is? They're all
Okay,
137?
do you want to put 37 up?
Absolutely.
130?
I was gonna say, this is 37, right? And then there's,
This is 123 Pond in 37 James. And the next one is 137 Pond. It's a small parcel. There you go. So that is a site adjacent to this, which Mr. Wheeler has acquired in conjunction with some plans that we are developing for the totality of this site. It made the project much better, but this is a different owner that he's acquired it from. He owns it at this particular point in time, and there is a abandoned, condemned house that will come down on that site. But as we get further into the permitting process that you've seen some remnant of prior to this, that will be incorporated into the site. Because of, again, the transfer of the property into a larger entity at some point in time, we prepared this A&R plan with an updated survey for both the transactions and also for the zoning protection.
Great, so this one, if you can go back to the other one. This one is just that little corner down there?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
So Jasmine, obviously both these properties fit with whatever regulations we have about properties. It's different than a lot. There's no rule of 22 on putting properties together or anything like that, right?
Exactly, there's no rules for combining. And they're not changing any, they're not proposing to change anything. Sorry, Jackie, they're not proposing to change anything with these plans.
So, and nothing on the plans that doesn't make it a valid. I'm always thinking in terms of lots, which I know these aren't, but usually we're looking at A&Rs in terms of a lot. But there's nothing on these plans that it makes them the equivalent of what would be non-conforming if they're,
Exactly.
it's all good.
Right.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on this?
I'm sorry, is this one here, is the gas station,
Yeah.
the big one is the gas station?
Gas station is the lot that's between the road and our property in the front. Yes,
That's the gas station?
that's the gas station.
And then what's behind it?
There is a house behind it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think that's one of your town inspectors.
Oh, okay. I've been to that gas station 100 times. I didn't know there was anything behind it.
He's a wiring inspector in Ashland, but he's a wire inspector in a bunch of in several of the towns. He might not be working in that.
Okay.
They can't hear you when you talk from there, just to give you a heads up. So,
He said
but thank you.
he's a wiring inspector, but it may not be for this town. I thought it was, but
Yeah, I think he is.
there's a house there.
Yep.
Yeah, so, did everyone get the memo and review the memo on this? Or, sorry, you called it I called it a memo, but.
I sent
that's
it as
right.
director's
Yeah,
memo, yeah.
okay, director's memo. Yeah, because this is actually isn't something we've done before. So can you just give a brief explanation, just so more education for
Yeah,
the board?
I guess I don't really understand what we're being asked.
Absolutely. So essentially what this is, the term used is a confirmatory A&R, which is actually something that I had not come across actually in my 10 years of doing planning. So I did confirm with town council, and they did say, and in Bobrowski's book, the 5th edition, which I did provide you copies of, there is something called a zoning freeze that is allowed. So essentially, when you submit a subdivision plan, it's approved and that zoning freezes for a certain amount of years, but you can submit an A&R, which is what this is, that doesn't propose any changes. You're just showing the lots as they are as an endorsable plan because the lots exist. You're not proposing any changes and it's not a subdivision. So they bring it for approval not required because it doesn't require a subdivision. They get the confirmatory approval that, yes, this is not a subdivision, and they get a zoning freeze for 3 years. So it's just something that allows people to essentially confirm, well, we're not confirming anything, but they're resubmitting a plan that's already been approved. This plan was already approved once. They're resubmitting that approved plan, and we're just saying, yes, there is no subdivision required here, so we can sign it. There is no, approval not required, so.
What's the benefit of doing this?
The zoning freeze. So they can have, the zoning on this property cannot be impacted by any zoning change that's made within the next 3 years. So if a zoning change were to go in to move this from industrial to all residential, the industrial zoning would hold on this property for 3 years.
And what is it
So-
currently zoned as?
I believe it is industrial, and I believe there is some residential in some of the areas.
But it's also a Pond Street overlay district,
Yes.
which is, I mean, just full disclosure for the two of us and Anna, if she was here, this project came before the planning board. There's a project on this, or a proposed conceived project, we'll call it, a conceived project for this, and I believe it came before the board a year ago, right? So, but informally, there was not a formal, they were just looking for feedback. So I think twice, does that sound right? Twice before the board, 3 times maybe? 3 times, all informal, no formal application, just getting feedback, right? Which people are allowed, in fact, we encourage people to do, right? So that the more discussions, the better. So, so that project is still not in front of the board, but, so from our perspective, I can see that they've already put a lot of work into what they're thinking about here, so they want to freeze the zoning on it so that if something happens, all the work doesn't, go down the trash, So, and they're allowed to do that under Mass General Law. They're allowed to bring it forward for an approval not required. And then the zoning freezes for 3 years on that property,
Okay.
so. And,
Are you worried that the zoning is going to change?
Not necessarily, but when we're going to invest a ton of dough, we don't want it to happen.
Yeah,
We have a massive investment.
okay.
yeah, so unless there was something, was my, well, both of our questions and our questions to town council, that it's an approval not required, so unless there is something wrong with it,
Right.
something illegal about it, then it gets approved. Because it's just saying, confirm this is the property, and it's Mass General Law that's saying it freezes the zoning. So,
Okay. What was my questions?
all right, and I don't have anything either. So, someone like to make a proposal on that?
So is it basically just saying it's a motion saying that we agree
Endorse.
that these, we endorse?
Yes, your motion to endorse the A&R,
And we can put both of them at the same time?
you may.
So I move that we endorse the A&R for 37 James Road and 137 Pond Street.
Right, is there a second?
Second that.
And a roll call vote?
Deepa Venkatai.
Scott Pelletier, aye?
Paul Montesino, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. So, that was that.
Okay, we have Mylars if you'd like to sign them. Do you want to take a moment, because Anna's going to do a moment anyhow? Take a moment to sign them.
Oh, yeah, we might as well. So, Mackie, we're just going to put these out on the table. We're going to take a minute since we're waiting for Anna anyway, so that we just take a moment to sign these and then have that done. So, you can either keep it rolling or we can take a 5-minute break.
Do we have to sign them? Is that what it is?
Yes. Are there? Okay, I just saw that stack there and I didn't know if we had to. Oh, okay. All right.
Actually, if I may have you sign one of
The utensil is very important. I mean, She's getting a pen that'll work on the Mylar. So. I've driven,
Go to the left.
I drove on the little road behind there once, when we saw it, yeah. No, yeah, next time, yeah. We're gonna sign the ones out here, but we're getting the right pen. Because Mylar won't take.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
You as well, thank you.
All right, so why don't, while we're, let's see, next we have the YMCA, but, you know, Anna's on her way and she really wants to be here in person for that one. So why don't we go ahead and take care of the meeting minutes?
Okay, thank you.
I mean, if Anna has any changes, she can let you know, but usually there's not. So we're looking at the meeting minutes for March 12th. Is that the only ones that were in there? The other ones weren't in there yet? We didn't get those yet, okay. So it's just March 12th. This is when we had the scenic road tree removal discussion, one of them anyway, I think the second one. And also the YMCA. Oh, and we went through the housing production plan. Boy, that was a busy meeting, yeah, okay.
Where are they in here?
Oh, sorry, yeah, if you, yeah, it's only like 5 pages back from the front of the binder. Jasmine, I think the only very minor edit I had on the meeting minutes was line 229. And it's just the spelling of my name. But it's just S-H-A, which I don't use. It's not a big deal, but. I think it's a pretty common way for a lot of people to spell it.
You guys good? Ready to? I motion to approve the minutes.
Are you ready?
I did.
Oh, okay.
That was it.
That was kind of like a casual, like, should I? So is there a second?
Second that.
All right, roll call vote.
Deepa Venkatai.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
Paul Montesino, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. You're on top of things, Scott. I think you're like awake tonight, or just a lot of caffeine.
I got a lot of stuff I gotta do after this.
Okay. Motivated.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right, okay, we're still waiting for Anna for the public hearing. So why don't we talk a little bit about skipping ahead. Right after the agenda is the this design review committee bylaw. And Anna's very familiar with the design review committee. Obviously, this actually was her suggestion about how we could potentially modify. And so just a little bit of history. The design review committee right now is set up and has been set up since, I don't know, a while, right? Yeah, I'm not even sure how many years, but it's set up currently that there's a standing board of 5 people. Generally, it's same verbiage that's in here, that have experience in the fields of architecture, landscape architecture, and engineering, and 1 person owning a business. Well, they look for that, right? It's not mandatory. And they would serve for 3-year terms. What the problem we've been having, at least since I've been on the board, is kind of keeping people on that board and finding people really with the depth of experience that we need. So it's been quite hard to get people that are registered architects, that are registered engineers, that people, if this board, if this committee is an advisory committee to the planning board, right? We appoint the design review committee and they report back to us. So really, it's supposed to be, in my mind, I actually confirmed with the founders who created, Paula Parker, who helped create the design review committee. So it's meant at a time, especially when there are no designers on the planning board, which happens sometimes. There's not a single architect on the planning board. So the planning board can then rely on the design review committee to really look at design, on some of these buildings, when people on the committee, on the board, maybe don't have that expertise. But it's hard to get architects and engineers and people with the experience we want to sign up for a 3-year commitment, and to, I think, do some of the in-between tasks that that committee has started doing, looking at various things and meeting more often. So the committee kind of disbanded itself about 6 months ago now, right? Yeah, maybe. I don't remember actually when it was. But the last remaining members of it all resigned. I mean, there was definitely some tension between the planning board and the design review committee. Planning board maybe not feeling we were really getting what we needed from the design review committee maybe feeling like their voices weren't heard, right? And instead of having that discussion, unfortunately, the last 3 members resigned. So we currently have no design review committee. So out of that discussion in the planning board, Anna actually had this idea of couldn't we just have like a design review committee that that's assigned per project, so that when an applicant comes before us, say like the YMCA, we have a list of, we maybe keep a list of architects, engineers, people that we think would be good advisors to us, and see then if there's a group of 3 people that will serve just for that project. So it's the only thing they're obligated to look at is, say, the YMCA, and then their term would be done, right? So that way you can find people who have a window, a window in their schedule that they can focus on one thing, but they don't have to sign up for 3 years, so it makes it much easier to, hopefully, to fill those spots. We won't actually know unless we try it. But there was an example recently for 10 to 60 Main Street, where very informally a group was pulled together to serve as kind of not a third-party review officially, but an informal group to try to give feedback to 10 to 60 Main. And in that case, apparently it went very well, that the applicant was very receptive to that input, and those 3 people were able to kind of just serve just for that amount of time and then not be obligated again, like for years, to do it. So kind of working from that model, we were looking at the bylaw, and Jasmine and Lisa Mead, Town Council, found that with very few changes in our current bylaw, we're just changing the makeup of how the committee is made up, and then we can start to, to fill those slots as we have applications come before our board. I thought Lisa even said, and I don't want to get this wrong, but I think she thought our design review committee structure was very unusual for a town.
She did say that. Yes.
Because I think it is, and I'm not sure why, but it has been a heavy burden for people to be on that committee. Maybe it didn't start out that way, but I think in recent years it has become a lot, So anyway, this is this bylaw that we're going to be having a public hearing on the 30th. So just wanting to know if there's any questions or any suggestions with it. So basically, the meat of it is in obviously 9.6.2. So design review is conducted by a committee made up of 3 members. So it's kind of taking out the alternative members, things like that, made up of 3 members appointed by the planning board. Where possible, members shall have experience in the fields of architecture, landscape architecture, or engineering, and up to 1 person owning a business in the town. That was obviously carried over from before, and we decided there's no harm in leaving that in, But it also members shall be appointed per application review. So in legalese, that means we've gotten an application for a YMCA or for a housing project, whatever it might be, and they would be assigned for that application, not for all the projects open at that time. The ad hoc committee will be concluded at the end of each review, and the planning board will appoint a new ad hoc committee before the next application. So, the other thing I might change in there actually is the word before, and I might just change it to for the next application. Because we might want to, I think we want to wait until we get an application so that we can actually ask, are you available right now? You know, and someone's availability might change.
And is there a reason why we are limiting it to 3 members? Because depending on the scale of the project, you may find an architect, you may find a landscape architect, an engineer. So are we limiting ourselves to 3?
Do you want to say at least? Just
Yeah,
put in the
3 to
words at
5.
least,
I
so
think
that way you
max
put-
5. We don't want a large group, obviously, but
We could say 3 to 5.
yeah.
And there might be some excitement over a specific project where they are passionate,
That's
that
true.
they want to
Yeah.
kind of, might have more people who raise their hand.
Or if it's a smaller project, maybe 3 is more appropriate versus a larger, more complex project, maybe 5.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I also,
Made up of 3 to 5 members and changed it to for the next application
Yeah,
instead
for
of
the next-
before the next.
right. Because in my mind, like I said, if once we get an application, if we had that list, we can see who's available.
Right.
And for some projects that are like, say the soccer fields right now, maybe you want 2 landscape architects and a business person on that one. Maybe you don't even need an architect on that project. You really can change the flavor
Yeah.
of who you have based on the project.
Right, maybe you get a landscape specialist or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like who's most appropriate, can give the best insight and advice, you know, back to the board. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. It might even be like a coach or something,
right.
you know, for something like that.
Having said that, then are we limiting ourselves by saying person owning a business? Because a coach will not fall in that category or will not fall into any of the other design fields.
I think that just the term where possible kind of allows for that possibility. Because I think in general, we're looking for designers or people with professional experience. But I think there's latitude in there, you know, in that as well, so. Yeah, and then the rest of it, let's see, there's a few changes at the bottom. The design review committee shall submit its written findings to the planning board and to the applicant along with any suggested conditions. Such report shall contain any, okay. Just cleaning it up a little bit, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, everything in the middle, it just says, it's just the bylaw saying what projects go before the design review committee, so it's not changing that. Any other comments on that? Okay.
And we have to wait till the 30th because of the timing.
Because we have to post it in a newspaper and advertise it as a public hearing, so that if anybody's interested, they have the opportunity to speak.
Feedback. Yep.
Yeah.
Understand.
So we'll look at these changes with Anna.
Yes, but
And
that
then-
should be a pretty quick meeting.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, but we want to, before it's posted, right? Or has it already been posted?
well, it hasn't been posted at the clerk yet, but it's already been sent to the newspaper for the 30th. But it doesn't
Okay.
have the verbiage in it yet.
Okay. Yeah, so,
No, I told her I'd get it to her tomorrow. I knew we'd be discussing it tonight. So
okay,
she has this draft, but it's not posted yet.
okay,
But if somebody were to have called today and asked for it, she had this.
got it. So, and remind me, on the 30th, it can still be changed on the 30th?
Absolutely, they
Tweaked,
can. Yeah.
right, okay.
So if on the 30th you decide, take out this paragraph, rewrite it, that's perfectly acceptable.
Okay. I think it's, I think it's great if we can make as few changes as possible without reinventing the wheel. But I think the changes made here actually are
I think they're impactful.
The 3 to 5, I think is great to keep it flexible depending on the the project, so.
A lot more palatable to do it per project than for 3 years.
Yeah, I think so. It's hard it's hard enough to get, people to sign up for 5 years for this board or 3 years or whatever. And hopefully then, we would get people for that list, so.
So,
All right, so it is 7:51. We are, Anna said she would be here at 8, so we still have 9 minutes.
did you want to continue till to now? Can you do that?
Oh, I think, yeah, they can do it.
Yeah,
I guess I can.
they've got 3.
Yeah, I
3
just
is
won't.
enough to continue. Yeah. Do you want to wait for Anna, though?
I don't think we need to.
I
but-
don't think so, but just figured while we're waiting.
Yeah, it's just continuing, so you don't need,
Yeah, she doesn't
Okay.
need to be here for that.
and I think I can do that. I'm just not going to vote.
Right, because there's no
Okay.
discussion, there's no material.
Trying to think what I can do and what I can't do because I'm still not. Yeah,
Do you
so.
have to recuse yourself? Do you have to step out for us to make the motion? to-
Well, the funny thing is, so as you know, I recuse myself from this project, 55 Tilton, because the owner of that building is my landlord. But I am moving out of that building as of June 1st. I'm moving into a home, setting up a home office for myself. After
You sure? I've seen your office.
It's pretty nice.
Got a
But-
lot of space at home?
What?
Got enough space?
Yeah, I do have enough space at home. So, but yeah, so I will be moving out of that building. And will no longer have a conflict of interest, but I haven't seen any of the stuff, so it'll still be all you guys. But that said, I can still continue it, and I just won't vote. Okay, and that is just continuing because?
We're just waiting for their peer review to come back, so the peer review and their engineers have just been working to get some details straightened out until she hasn't completed her review yet.
Okay. All right, so I will move to continue no, that's the wrong one. I will move to continue 55 Tilton Avenue, special permit and site plan review to the 30th,
Yes, please.
to April 30th. Is there a second? Oh, no. Can I make that
You
motion?
can make the motion.
All right, I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second that.
Okay. I just won't vote.
Deepa Venkatai.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
Paul Montesino, aye.
Angel Kazadi and I.
Okay. There we go. So that is continued. We still have 6 minutes. Is there any other announcements anyone wants to make? Any updates on meetings? And I'll have to listen to that part of the meeting anyway.
We, CPC met last week. Nothing new came forward.
No new projects?
Yeah, no new projects or anything. We'll still be putting one, well, in theory, should be coming up for, at town meeting. That's about the possible purchase of a piece of land for the town forest.
Okay. Great. Deepa, anything on your committee?
Metro West, there was a ask for participating in a historic preservation training program, and I would be interested, so I passed on the message, so I don't know what the next steps are.
Oh,
Sorry about that. I've responded to that email asking that I would be interested in participating in that historic preservation training. There are 2 one-hour training virtual programs.
oh,
Sounded like a good one to
yeah,
participate, come back, bring it to the committee.
yeah, that does sound very, very good, actually. Thank you.
Yes, as they're partnering with the National Alliance of the Preservation Commissions. Trainings will be 1 hour each via Zoom. They asked for 3 designees from Ashland. The Historic Preservation Committee did. Did they send it to everybody, Deepa, or just you?
I think it only came to us, so
Yeah,
if it's
do you want me to
like,
share
it's
it
a larger one, so I think it's great to open up to the.
I'll share that with the board.
All right, why don't you tell us if you know, Jasmine, is where the housing production plan is right now? Do you know, have any updates on that?
So Jen Goldson is just incorporating the comments that she had received, so we expect what they call the final version of it to be sent to us early next week, and then I'll send that to share it with the board and the select board as well. And then at that point, we get a letter from, a memo from Michael Herbert, just confirming the votes from the planning board and the select board, and we'll send that memo along with the draft housing production plan to EOHLC. WANA is our contact there. It used to be Phil DiMartino, but he has stepped down from that role. So we're gonna send it to WANA. We're gonna email it, but also send it certified mail as well. And then they'll confirm that they've received it, and then that would be, once they review it and they determine it's complete, as long as there's no edits, it would be retro back to the date that it was submitted, so.
Okay,
As soon as we get it and submit it, we'll let you guys know. We are gonna submit it to the state and the boards at the same time, so if you notice there are discrepancies, let us know and we'll let the state know. But it was important for us to get that deadline rolling for the retro approval, so.
all right, great. And is there any update on the 40Bs?
The 55 West Union is the only one still open. 10 to 60 Main Street is still before Concom. 61 Waverly is actually approved through conservation, and it's been approved through the ZBA, so they are ready to start groundwork whenever they are ready. 55 West Union has been continued out until May. We actually, our peer review from Haley Ward, who is reviewing the project for us, is leaving Haley Ward. So there's going to be a bit of transition.
Oh,
So
no, okay.
luckily, the applicant agreed to an extension to give the engineers some time to replace Bethany to continue, finalize the review for them. So it's just been a little bit of a waiting period there.
But a little breather for the ZBA, maybe.
Kind of, it's been nice. They need it.
All right, thank you for that. All right. And anything new that we should be, any new applications that have been submitted?
Nothing's been submitted, no.
Okay. All right,
Although the Ballard Road, just, off topic, but the Ballard Road subdivision is moving along. They're before conservation. They should be done probably within the next 2 or 3 meetings there.
that was the one with the older
Yes.
lots, the older, smaller
Yes.
lots?
So probably by the summer, you'll probably see some movement over there. So,
Okay, great.
and if anybody's wondering what's going across from the senior center, that's just a single-family house. We've had a few calls, what's going on across the street from the community center. Somebody's just putting up a single-family house there.
Oh, community center.
Yeah, they took down a lot of trees there.
Yeah, we've got a few calls.
Yeah, I guess I haven't been, by the way, I don't remember noticing anything.
Yeah, when you drive by,
It was
it's
quick.
like, it went from like a
They did it quick.
pretty big
piles.
forest to like a big
Yeah.
pile of trees in like
2 days.
4 days or
It
something
was
like that.
wild, yeah. Maybe it was 4, 'cause I'm,
I think it was this week, right?
yeah.
So what's the, Thursday? Yeah. Like it's, like they
Weird.
run some, those cool machines that like take the tree and like run it through so all the limbs get taken off it right away and.
That's on the
chop
other
off.
side of 135, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Not on the
Yeah.
other side of Olive?
No,
Okay,
it's right across from Olive. If you're on
Okay.
Olive Street, you're looking right at it.
yeah, I guess
I
I
thought
have
that was
it.
all one piece of property. I didn't
thought it
think
was
that.
too.
I
didn't
thought
think-
that also, but I don't,
Like where the
apparently not.
dog statue is, right?
Yeah.
It's right
Yeah.
there?
Mhm.
Huh, must not be, it must be just the road that goes up and that
Yeah.
property must be separate.
It was, which I didn't know, but. Oh, and the Bark Park will hopefully be open next month, so.
Oh, wow, okay.
So if anybody, yeah, just keep an eye out on the website. Beth has updates on that when it's gonna be open, so
Nice timing for the spring.
I know.
Yeah,
The Bark Park? It is, but we should have it actually all set up in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And the Warren Barn will be done for the summer, so they can run some summer
I
programs.
saw that. I saw
Yeah, that's
that
moving
coming up.
along pretty
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Very exciting. The Arboretum looks really nice, if anybody's been
No, I
down
haven't been there. I forgot about all those things over the winter.
It looks so good. Your tree's doing really well.
I drive by it every day. Yeah, it looks
Do
good.
you?
It's on Elliott,
There's a little tree over there that Becca has
going towards Sherborne.
agreed to call Trish's tree, because when I was out there helping clear, I worked however long I was out there just to clear this, just to free this one little tree that was being strangled by all these invasives. So, it's, informally, it's my tree.
That's doing really well.
Thanks. I saved it.
49 Homer kind of construction.
Oh, yeah.
They're
That's,
clearing there was site mobilization about a month ago.
it's going very slowly. They actually haven't even pulled their building permits yet.
Oh.
So, I mean, they've pulled some demo, but obviously nothing for building yet, so they're just not. I think they had something going on with whoever they work with who was using their site as storage. I think it's just taking longer for them to figure out things than they had hoped. Hi, Anna.
Hannah. Well, we have just gone through the whole back half of the list, so that when we,
Wonderful.
you'll have to watch it on tape and catch up.
So you took all the exciting stuff
Yeah, sorry.
away from me. How could you?
We could dredge it up.
What?
We could dredge it up for you.
I mean, that's the stuff I'm excited about.
All right. So now we are having a full board. We are ready to continue with number 5, public hearings. The first on the agenda is 30 Memorial Drive, the YMCA. So Jasmine, where we left this, and who do we have online?
I've got Carrie DeLeo, Rick McPherson, and
I'm here too, Jasmine.
oh, Matt is there. Okay, I thought you were there, Matt. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay. All right, so when we left this last time, we wanted to look at the surety. And I think, there is text in there now on the last page, right? Or
Yes.
a revised text, and has that been resolved between town council and the YMCA?
Yes,
They're both-
town council has reviewed this and said this language is approved. She actually made some small changes, so this is the text that town council approved. And we did send this to the YMCA, and they did agree to her small changes as well, which essentially just says that the planning board and the applicant can agree on the surety amount, as they're still working with Mike Carter to get that surety done in phasing, so that way they don't have to put up so much money immediately up front. And Mike Carter, who's our peer review engineer, thought with the way the site was going to be phased, that makes perfect sense, so he's just readjusting his surety amounts to match the phasing of the project.
All right, and I just had a few things in reading the copy that we went through last time.
Where do you want me to start?
Page 3, the top of the page.
Where Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah, in that paragraph, it talks about a parking management plan. What was the parking management plan? Can someone just refresh me on my memory what that was? It says a parking management plan is presented to the planning board on July 24th, and I meant to go look at it to remember what that was. Is that,
I don't recall that either. Sorry, I don't recall that one either.
is someone from the Y on that can explain the parking management plan, or is that something we can bring up?
I think, yeah, that might be a good evening, everyone. For the record, Matt Eckel from Fletcher Tilton on behalf of the Y. As mentioned, Carrie and Rick are also here. Thank you again for taking some additional time on this matter. I'll be honest, I think that might just be terminology that was maybe over generalized. I'm not sure there was like a document that read parking management plan. I think it was probably more relating to the total number of cars and the parking spaces and the allocation of accessible spaces and early learning center spaces that it was required versus the rest of the building, which had kind of a, that moving target number. So I don't know if there's a hard document labeled parking management plan.
Okay,
So if the board sees fit to rename that, I think we're okay with that. We don't want to be misleading.
Right, and I had thought, and and again, I didn't have a chance, I thought we had also talked about, and I thought it was in here, but I didn't see it in this decision, or maybe we took it out last time, someone can maybe remind me, that we talked about if the parking was, if there was too much parking, or if there was not enough parking, that the Y would look at changes in program.
I thought you had
I
definitely
thought
provided that link.
yeah, I thought I did too, but where was that? I didn't, when I went through it again,
I believe if you go down to, let me see the page here, 5, number 11, it looks like if general parking becomes inadequate for the
There we go.
facilities,
Yes, thank
you
you.
please to modify programming.
thank you so much. Okay, for not going crazy, okay.
Yeah, and I think to Matt's previous comment, I mean, we weren't even in front of the board in July, so that is probably,
Oh,
Okay.
you know, just
I'm like,
like,
yeah,
you know,
July.
hanging on from an old decision or something. And I agree, our management plan is that we will adjust programming if we can't accommodate the.
Yeah, I mean, I think this, let's see, this is under traffic flow and safety. So, and we already talked about having reviewed a traffic report, which was reviewed by the board and its consultant, GCG. So, yeah, I would say we take out starting with a parking management plan. We take out that, that whole sentence.
Okay.
And just leave appropriate signage shall be installed. Does anyone have a problem with that?
That's fine.
Okay, and then my next comment is, I'm sorry,
you're on page 4.
I don't think I have anything on page 4. Yeah, no.
Can I, if you want to go page by page,
Yep.
can I make a quick comment about
Yes.
page 4?
Yes.
The trees, sorry, the belaboring of the trees by
Oh,
me.
which number, Anna? I'm so sorry.
Number 4 on page 4. My only thing about the trees is I remember we spent a lot of time with that, it was like a 1-page, maybe it was 2 pages, with visualization of the little trees that were gonna be cut down. We had this whole discussion and the applicant provided a different version of it. And then we talked about the replanting that would happen in different areas. So that's kind of hinted at, but there's no reference to that document here. And I do think it's important for the public record to reference that document so that it's very clear, this is what we're agreeing to cut down. And not just like, the way it reads now, it's like, we're just agreeing to a cut down, but of what? So I definitely want to very cleanly reference that this planning board is approving the cutting of trees as discussed in that second document. I think we all remember it. And that the replanting needs to be a lot more specified, because I remember there were numbers discussed as to what would be replanted and where. So I'd like to see that in the decision, and I thought we discussed that being in the decision. So I apologize if I didn't raise it earlier, but I want to make sure that I'm not missing it, because
Does someone on the, can someone on the Y team know what that,
I know
direct us
what
to
she's
that
talking
document?
about, but I don't know how to reference it. I'm trying to find it in
so I
the
think
meeting
the way to
materials.
reference might be, so where I would put it is on page 4.
Okay.
In item 4, we're saying we are agreeing, we're saying it must occur,
Right.
right? And so I think we should say it must occur, development of the site as, per the document, whatever
That's
the
what I'm trying
document
to
is.
figure out. What are we calling the
Right.
document? I'm trying
Yeah,
to
so I
find
think
it now.
the two documents are there's a document that outlines the limit of work, right? Which is what shows that buffer of trees staying around the edges. And then there's an additional document, which is the landscape plan, both of which are in the,
Okay,
yeah, so I think you
that's
could
the
just,
landscape plan.
you could
Yeah.
probably just say per the, there's a set of plans, right, that's gonna go with this decision, right?
Well, I hope so.
And, yeah, so
That's what I mean.
they're
it
both
should
in
reference
that, yeah, in that,
Yeah.
in that package.
Okay. So do you want to say in that first sentence, Anna, after the comma?
must occur for the development of the site, comma, as indicated on whatever she said.
Landscape.
The
I
report
can
you're
tell
looking for
you
with the
the
trees?
I think that's the, I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
correct date. Yes, that's what I remember as the visual.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Looks like we're cutting all of New Hampshire down. So
See if that's,
I'm trying to lighten the
I
conversation.
think that was
sorry.
more of a, that was more of a diagram showing
Yes.
where different trees were.
But I think
Yeah,
it's,
are you guys referencing the arborist report?
yes, but then I think
I-
there,
Yeah,
was-
I would prefer to not put that in a decision, because that is not to scale or overly, detailed. I think that what's being cleared is what's within the limit of work, which we tried to estimate on that, but I don't think we can take that to the grave, because
So-
it was not,
so-
if you overlay it, it doesn't really match exactly,
Yeah,
right?
so would the text be, as indicated on the limit of work and in the landscape plans provided?
exactly,
Yeah, that
And
would
it's
make
more
me feel
specific,
better.
calling out
That-
certain-
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
And those would be in the set, talked about, let's see.
Should be at the very top of the.
And then to kind of match it on the other end, I think you had a landscaping plan
Oh, yeah, here.
that we need to reference, right? Because you were saying you were gonna, and I'm talking to the applicant, I think the applicant had a certain number. Am I imagining that there was like a written document that said what would be planted, or is that a figment of my
Yeah,
imagination?
there's a landscaping
Yeah,
plan.
Okay,
There is.
On
Exactly.
that, it has like, they even documented all, like, where all of them are
Exactly.
going on,
yeah,
across the
as long
front
as
and
we're
everything.
referencing an agreement as to what we're cutting and what we're planting, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So, and I have the latest plans, what it says in here, the latest plans are 4/25/25, with a latest revision date of 2/12/26, and elevation plans at 11/6/25. Does that sound, that's the most
Sounds
recent
reasonable.
version?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. The next item I have then is, it's just more, it's more just a typo than anything. This would be on page 6. The last of the 4 bullet points is on dimensions, building height.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it
it's
says,
49 to 49.5.
what?
Is that what it is? Sorry.
No, it says, so, given the use of sloped landscape which maintains this 2-story facade on Memorial Drive, blah, 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 and a 3-story facade on the rear of the building, resulting in a height from average grade of 40 feet 9 inches, that should be comma, and then small t, the board waves. So that first part was all an introduction of the information, and it doesn't read
Right.
correctly. It should be together. So that was, like I said, just kind of a typo thing. And then I think the last item actually it goes on page 8, 9, and, wait a minute. I guess 8 and 9. So
Okay.
on page 8, in letter C, we talk about, in no event shall any of the following be permitted without authorization. And number III on that part is installation of non-native or invasive plant species. Then, on page 9, letter J, this is where it really gets bad. Letter J, we say that 75% of all landscape plantings shall be native, and then all planting materials are non-invasive, that's great, and 70% of the planting material is native, that's just in 2 sentences, so I think, so we're kind of, it's a little sloppy.
So should I take out, okay, I'll start with this one. So I'll take out and 70% of the plantings of natural species we'll keep it at 75%.
I'm fine with that. So
Okay.
we'll keep 75% of landscape plantings are native species. We'll take out the 70% so that we, at least we just, is the Y okay with that, I assume? 75% native versus 70?
Well,
I-
isn't one of them planting material versus the other one said plantings, like
it's-
landscape plantings?
They're supposed to, I mean, in my experience, we've never
Differentiated.
distinguish between landscape plantings and planting material. I think those are supposed to, both supposed to mean plants, I think.
Oh, I
is-
thought the planting
Yeah,
material
I guess
was
what
dirt.
is this, what is the standard? If the standard is 70%, then we would like 70. If it has to be 75, we'll take 75. But I don't want to like volunteer something that's more than standard.
So where did
I
the
don't-
75 and 70 come from?
Frankly, I think if we look back, and I don't know if I have it here, I think if we look back on our previous decisions,
I will say planting material to me means dirt, which I would hope is native. So, sorry, the lawyer speaking,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not a
right. I
gardener.
thought it meant by the material was the dirt.
I
they
think
were
we can all agree that dirt is native.
I actually
Oh, not
could be
always. So we really do want to differentiate between native dirt and non-native. Okay, that's helpful.
wait,
I could be misremembering, Madam Chair, but I believe the decision was originally written as 75%, and then there was some discussion that maybe the standard was 70.
I-
And maybe that's why it's written in different numbers in different places, but
Yeah,
I
no,
thought it
I-
might have been 70 at the end of the last meeting.
I think that is true.
Are we
I-
talking about one thing or two things?
One thing, we're not going to
So
get into,
planting material is the same thing as plants.
in the history of the planning board, we have always talked about plants.
Okay.
We've never talked about planting material at all. So that has in there.
I'm sorry, I'm
I
finding
mean,
humor in
do
this.
you-
I
No,
agree.
you agree, right?
No,
So
I
I
do.
think it's probably another word for plants at this point, and at least otherwise has, in my memory, has never been talked about by the planning board.
Let's simplify it. Sorry. Sorry.
I think it's about taking
Yes.
it out entirely, but the question
I
is.
say let's,
I think it typically is 70%. I think that is what we have had before,
let's go with 70.
70.
and I think that's why it came up last time. I'm okay with it either way, but I believe it has been 70% in other,
So up here.
in other decisions.
Could I also make a very small OCD comment? On page 8, there's this lovely space between paragraph C and D. Can we just squeeze those two things together?
I changed that on my document,
thank
sorry. I missed that earlier.
Okay.
So, okay, where's
So-
the original? I'm sorry, I need to go back to.
So on 8, in letter C,
On 8, letter C, but now I'm back on page 6 to,
page 6.
I mean, oh no, it was on 8 and 9, you said? So it's
Yeah,
9
so
is the
on,
next page,
yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
on 8, letter
So 9, I've
C,
changed it to 70%. So
I
8,
think,
let's see.
in this one, we just take out installation of invasive plants. In no event should be permitted without authorization, installation of invasive plant species. Just take out non-native. Because they can plant non-native. It's just a certain percentage, but they cannot plant invasive. I wouldn't think they would want to do that anyway, but
Well, it says without authorization.
poison ivy everywhere.
Right.
Isn't this the authorization, though? Because it says without authorization, and aren't we giving them authorization in?
No, from the planning board
J.
at a public meeting, so they have to come back to us. If they say, we'd like to plant an invasive
Thank you.
species, we can take that out completely, and renumber them, which would be fine with me. Should we just take out invasive completely? It's kind of silly that it's in there, that you would plant an invasive species.
I'm sorry.
No,
Let's
but
take,
you can, but keep that in there. I was just talking about the because you said non-native or invasive, right? So the non-native is the part that you're saying is contradictory with page 9, right?
right, I'm saying we don't need that in there, right, because they already have a percentage of
Right,
non-native.
I
they
understand
can-
that part, but
right.
why are you taking out the invasive part?
Because I think other places we say you can't plant.
We just took out the non-native part. We left invasive, but took out
Oh, I
non-native.
Yeah.
thought she was trying to take out
Because
both.
on J, Because on J on the next page, it says all planting materials are non-invasive species. So instead of giving them, hey, but you can come back and plant an invasive species, that seems ridiculous. Why would we want invasive species at all?
Okay.
It seems,
You just take that one out.
yeah, I think we should just take it out entirely. I don't think anyone is going to say that that's a good thing to plant invasive species. Any problem with that, YMCA? No. Peter says no. He's here in the room. He says no.
We don't have a lot of plans for invasives, so,
No,
yeah.
no invasives.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so we're taking out 3 and that'll,
I've done that and added, and I adjusted the other numbers as well.
okay, I guess it's just, yeah, 2 more. Oh, yeah, I guess, okay. All right, so that's that, so we don't look silly with all our plant materials. And that's all I have.
Okay.
And-
Anybody else?
Did anyone else have any corrections?
I
That
think,
was,
yeah, the other stuff I looked for is there, so I'm good.
okay. All right, is there anything, so now I would be looking to, unless there's any other comments from the planning board or any other discussion from the planning board.
Just why are these highlighted yellow?
Oh,
They're new
because those
from
were
council.
changed from the last,
Okay.
it sent you a version on
I just
last,
wanted to make
last
sure we didn't have to
Thursday, and
go
those were
back or
updated
discuss it.
after we discussed with town council. That was why. That was all we had changed from the last version that you had seen.
Because lawyers like things to be bright.
I did the
Oh,
yellow, honestly.
sorry,
I prefer green, honestly,
this is-
myself, but.
This is one very, very small thing.
Which one?
Page 5, number 9, it's just the term is wrong. The planning board finds that objectionable features such as transformers for the project are instead of is. I was just wondering what that other mark I made there, but that's tiny. Okay. So now, unless there is any other like comment or discussion from the planning board, because we're kind of at the critical moment here. If there's no
Madam
discussion.
Chair, if I may, one last comment and
Yes.
apologies.
I was going to ask you next, but I was going to ask the planning board first. Hold on. So,
Sorry for interrupting.
so is there any other comment or questions from the planning board?
I think I'm gonna ask just a fun question. Why is the, in number 9, the planning board finds that objectionable features such as transformers, why is it objectionable?
Because they're
Isn't it
pretty-
necessary?
We're saying, it's pretty much, we're not saying ugly, we're being nice. They're objectionable to look at, is what it is.
But it is needed.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tricia already caught this, page 5, the last sentence, parking, plantings. There's no comma, should take that off.
Wait, where are you?
Page 5.
Yeah.
Parking, comma,
planting.
planting.
Yeah, well, because the one before it is parking comma spaces, so those are about the plantings in the parking area that we talked about. There was 4 trees that are missing, like
So
in the
the
count.
comma is intentional.
Yes.
Okay.
So parking sub-comment spaces on the one above it, and then parking subcategory plantings.
Okay.
My only kind of general stylistic comment, because this is stylistically so different from what we've done before, is I can see how this is a little bit less formal than our normal style, and that has some benefit. Like, people could read this maybe slightly easier. It's not, doesn't go on for 40 pages. On the other hand, there's enough informality, like, for example, when you see the board and its consultant on page 2, GCG. GCG stands for something. It's not just like a 3-letter word. So I kind of wonder if we should, when we clean this up and just kind of, the first time we mention a shorthand, give the formal reference, and then
I think, like, yeah.
you know what I mean?
I think
Like,
that makes sense.
little things like that I just noticed where people don't, the public won't know what
That actually is their name, is GCG Consultants.
Oh,
that
that's
is
fully
their actual
their-
name. That is their full, that is the company name. Because
GCG?
it's the
Okay.
initials of the people that own it.
Gotcha,
Just like
okay.
Do we have
GAF Engineering.
I'm used to a more formal title
Did we
for
have,
them.
did we have consultants after it, or did it just say,
I think it just said, maybe it just said,
It's kind of like this. It's a little bit informal in how it's presented.
yeah?
I guess
including-
my style would be to slightly formalize it and give their full
I
company
can add
name.
GCG Consultants because that
I
is.
think
Yeah,
their
there you
full
go.
name.
Yeah. And I'm sorry,
It's more of
Paul.
a stylistic
Paul,
comment.
what was your comment on page, you said on page 9, was there something? What you just,
About transformers being objectionable, I just said we used
It
objectionable.
was saying that it
instead
was
of unsightly.
objectionable, and I was just being kind of,
oh, okay,
why is it objectionable? It's needed.
okay, yeah,
It's unsightly.
got it. Okay, so, I'll let
I'm
the
good.
planning board keep thinking there. But what was the comment that you wanted to make, Matt? I'll take comments from the applicant now. Any
Thank
further-
you. Just a quick question under conditions 3, back to subsection C. This may be standard language for the board, but there's kind of some wiggle room on some things, like moving the building a couple feet this way or that way. And then in what's section, sorry, I lost it here.
Sorry, this is page 8, number C, or letter C,
Page 8, yes, conditions 3C.
okay?
And then within the, about halfway down through the paragraph, it really leaves no wiggle room whatsoever for minor drainage or parking changes. I'm just curious if that's always standard language. It's,
It's-
nice to have a little bit of, if it's deemed more than de minimis, obviously we'd come back to the board, but it's kind of hard and fast. If we move the parking space 6 inches, we might have to come back
Yeah,
before the
no,
board.
that is language that is different than we typically have. So,
Okay. So how would you?
no, I thought, is it,
I couldn't say which one I pulled it from, to be honest.
Okay.
Where I drafted this from.
I mean, the 2 sections that jump out to me are any change to the project's drainage design, any change in parking lot design, just leaves no wiggle room. I don't know if there can be something put in about, deemed more than de minimis changes or, at the discretion of the board or the, planning department staff, whatever the language that would be appropriate, but maybe just have a little bit of a buffer in there.
I understand that, that's reasonable. Um, How do you
The
phrase,
drainage design is a little bit.
how do you phrase
difficult,
more than de minimis? Is that a way that you can just say, greater
any
than?
change to the project.
um,
You could say something like any change to the project's drainage design
How about,
deemed substantial by,
how about any non-de minimis change? There you go. Any change
deemed
deemed
by who?
the building inspector?
Okay.
He's usually, because usually he's the one that is making those calls on site, right? Is that acceptable?
Yeah, I think so, because any of those changes that may happen would happen prior to, building permit likely, or it would be something that we could discuss with him.
Right, okay,
If we come up against something in the field, we have to make an adjustment, he'll already be active in the project, so.
right. So any change deemed to be non-de minimis, and we'll put that in.
Is the
Parking as well?
building inspector signing off on drainage system, or is it more stormwater and Concom kind of weighing in on those plans? Not sure the building inspector would look at drainage plans. I mean, if it's like your stormwater SWIP plans and things like that, it's not building inspector typically.
Yeah, the conservation oversees the stormwater.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's in the purview of building inspector. Yeah, we could do that, kind of put a AHG that kind of covers a broader.
So, do what to it?
Authority having jurisdiction.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, good one.
You got that on both of them?
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be the same term and the, yeah, so it'll either go to the building inspector or Concom or wherever it needs to go. Do you want to scroll the screen up so that we can just see where that landed for page 9? Okay, there we go. In no event shall any of the following,
Sorry.
relocation of the building footprint by more than 2 feet in any direction, any changes deemed non-de minimis per the authority having jurisdiction for the project's drainage design.
Kind of common, right? If you move the building 2 feet, say towards that already a pinch point that we're approving of that 25 feet. So it should kind of cover all those requirements versus just the project drainage system.
So you want it to somehow
Right?
cover everything and say no event
Yeah,
shall any of the following be permitted without authorization from the board?
because aren't we approving that pinch point that is there?
You
as
are,
well?
you're saying they can move 2 feet in any direction without coming before you for review for relocation of the building footprint. And you're saying that they can change grades by 6 inches without any type of approval. So that's what you're saying, anything greater than that would have to come back for approval, is what you're saying. So you don't want anybody to add, you don't want us to be able to approve everything without you. If it's a major modification, they should still have to come back to apply. So it shouldn't be that any change that's non-de minimis can be approved by whatever authority it is. Some changes will have to come back to the board.
I think what I caught, and maybe I'm, are you saying that 2 feet could be substantial in the area of the pinch point, and that
Correct.
is not allowed?
I
Correct.
see.
You can't change 2 feet more toward the pinch point
Correct.
that we just allowed, that we
So why
said.
don't we say that blatantly, essentially?
And that's
that-
why I was like, that AHJ should
Yeah.
have, should that be a generic one for all those different things
I
versus?
don't know if that'd be specific enough for that particular
Versus-
one.
I mean, 6 inches, that sounds,
So why not just add a sentence that blatantly says that? All
Changes-
of that is true,
Changes are not allowed in areas, in areas,
the pinch point area that you're referencing.
connected with any of the decisions that we.
and connected with the waivers already granted.
Exactly,
Yeah,
just say
maybe,
that
yeah.
blatantly.
Where would you like that?
At the end of that paragraph, changes,
So it's number 6 now?
No, still the
No.
C.
Still, yeah, I'm in
yeah,
still C,
but not, new sentence.
a complete,
Complete, right after it, but new sentence.
okay. So any, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
How about, changes without board approval are not permitted,
In respect to waivers?
in respect to waivers granted. Does that make sense?
Does that address it?
I think so.
Which part, Deepa, is plaguing you? Because
It feels like we're repeating that ASJ in every sentence. So I wonder if it. Yeah, it's, yeah,
okay,
because we are saying ASJ in 2, where the drainage system is, we're also saying the same thing for 4, for parking lot.
so maybe move it up.
So it feels like it needs to be a common.
No, that's conflicting, because you're saying,
I know that.
in no event shall any of these be allowed, and then you're saying any changes deemed non-de minimis, so those two.
Why don't you put at the
Maybe just
beginning?
include the word unless the changes are deemed non-de minimis?
Correct. Correct. Yep. Okay, I think that reads better.
Matt, you raised this, so does that help? Or we made it more harder for you?
I'm sorry, was that to us, or?
Yes, to you. Did it become more difficult, or does that help solve the question that you raised right at the beginning?
No, I think it helps. It's a little wordier, but I believe it helps. It gives a little bit of, wiggle room, so to speak. And I would expect any changes to a special permit or a waiver, we would have to come back anyways. So I think that's fine.
Should that word respect, permitted in respect to waivers granted are not permitted? Is that word respect the right word?
Funky.
Changes without,
Related to waivers granted?
when, yeah, not permitted if related to waivers granted? So,
Relative to waivers granted.
Relative.
Relative.
okay.
And I'm also curious, do we really get into that level of weeds of saying if it's 6 inches grade difference, you come back?
Yes, that will impact a lot of things. More than 6 inches across a grade change is huge. 6 inches across a mile is humongous. I mean, depends how far it is. 6 inches across a foot is huge. 6 inches across a mile is nothing. You do want them to come back if there's substantial grade changes. You do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my concern there is it's a
6
huge
inches.
site,
Yeah.
right? And there may be spots that 6 inches of difference makes absolutely no impact, and there's maybe spots where it's
But it
significant,
says
right?
unless deemed non-de minimis already by a previous
Yeah.
authority. So I think you have that covered if the building commissioner looks at it and says that's a
Okay.
non-de minimis change.
Yeah, they're like, we don't care, like if it's like in the middle of, an area that's nowhere near an adjacent property, it may make no difference. Okay.
And it's kind of given, right? You can't have plumbing, which has its own slope that has to be designed the right way. Parking, walkways have to be designed with the right slope.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that really matters in larger scheme of things, but
Well, I think because you're breaking it apart into very different areas, the authority with the jurisdiction will be slightly different. So I think it's ambiguous enough that it's going to give flexibility to the applicant, and yet it gives us enough authority. I think it's reasonable.
Because,
Well,
I mean,
ambiguous in just the right way.
Changes in 6 inches could matter a lot if we're talking about accessibility.
Right.
If we're talking about the fields out back, it doesn't matter at all. So I think that's the non-de minimis is up there. So
Okay.
if someone says that's not important, but it is important, it comes back.
Is it non-de minimis or is it just de minimis?
They're deemed,
Oh,
I'm not a lawyer, but
unless the changes are deemed,
I think if they're de minimis
de-
it
changes,
means
De
it's
minimis.
small.
that's the
Yeah.
De
little,
minimis,
that doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Yes.
So I think
I think you want non-de minimis.
unless the changes are deemed,
Now I got to look up my
it
Latin
is
terms.
too little can be little different for me versus another person as a designer.
Because
Oh,
I
and it's
did
spelled-
Google it, and it says de minimis, often mistakenly written as non-de minimis,
Yeah, I go with de minimis.
is a Latin phrase meaning of the smallest things, referring to things that are insignificant.
yeah, trifling.
Okay.
So unless the changes are deemed trifling per the authority having jurisdiction. I'm just putting in a word we understand. Okay.
Great. That reads better.
Okay. I think we got that right. Does it sound,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you, Angel. All right. Google's important.
At least the word plantings is not in there, so.
All right, anything else from any party? The Y or the board?
That's why there's only one of those here.
Okay, then, if there's nothing else, we will then look to first close the public hearing. And generally between, if we close the public hearing, we can still discuss. But if there's any discussion, we usually have our discussion right away, and then we close the public hearing, and then we move to a vote. But there is a space in there for discussion by the board once we close the public hearing. So
Are there any public comments out there, or does that not matter?
I will ask if there's any public comments before we close the public hearing. Nope. All right, on that note, I will make a motion that we close the public hearing
Second.
for 30 Memorial Drive, YMCA. Sorry.
Second.
And a roll call vote.
Deepa Venkatai.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
Paul Montesino, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. I just actually want you to put that number 9 up there. Just, I don't want to change it, I just want to read it.
Yep.
That we just went through.
Frozen right
Whatever it was, C on page 8.
now, so hold on. It's just freezing. Sorry, hold on.
Okay.
Not working.
Okay. Nope, it's okay, we can read it from there. So, in no event shall any of the following be permitted without authorization from the board at a public meeting unless the changes are deemed de minimis per the authority having this jurisdiction. So, sounds good? Okay.
And the one she brought up about the trees, that's also edited,
Yes.
making sure we have the
Yes.
attachments. Thank you.
Okay, so on that note, did you want to see that one, Deepa?
Then
Okay.
we trust it, as long as Jasmine is saying it's in there.
All right, who would like to do the honors? Is there any discussion? Okay. Big moment, we're approved, well,
Somebody's got to make a
we're
motion.
making a motion,
It's good.
we're making a motion to approve.
Then I make the motion to approve the,
30 Memorial Drive, YMCA project.
the decision,
The special permit,
the special permit site plan review.
design plan review
Design plan review, site alteration special permit
for 30 Memorial Drive.
for 30 Memorial Drive.
I'll second that.
All right, and a roll call vote.
Deepa Venkatai.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
Paul Montesino, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. So there you go, approved. Thank you. Woo-hoo.
Madam Chair, members of the board, and Jasmine, thank you very much. We appreciate your patience with us and all your time and consideration. Thank you again.
Thank you very
Yes,
much, Matt.
thank
as
you
well.
all.
Same here, and I'll get out there and build us a Y.
Yeah, can't wait to be there. Can't wait to see it.
Stop.
Donate. Tell your
Thank you,
friends.
everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
I do
Okay.
have that printed, so I am going to ask everybody to sign that before you leave tonight, please.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Oh, with all the changes already?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so moving on, there's really just the one thing left on our agenda. And that is 240 to 260 Pleasant Street, site plan review. This is the. Yes, so there's a, I think, so those are revised April 3rd, so that would have been when? Just last week?
Monday?
Does anyone want copies down there? Wha-
You do have Wayne
I
Bellick.
definitely don't want to look at this. Thank you, though. That was-
All right, and so Wayne is here again tonight?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Wayne, can you go through any changes from this, if this set was revised April 30th? Oh, sorry, 3rd. What were the changes that were being made? I don't recall.
Sure. Thanks, Madam Chair, Wayne Bellick, Land Design Collaborative. I have a couple representatives from the church here tonight as well. John Dudley and Roger Martin Rogers, a member of the church, and is also with Greenleaf Landscaper. The changes were minor, Madam Chair. What I can do is, looking at them, they were peer review comments, very minor. I could go through their letter if you'd like. They highlighted things in red. Basically where we are is we, at this point, pretty much have a clean bill of health with them. So one of the things was there was an erosion sediment control barrier in the northeast portion of the site that GCG called out, stating that it wasn't there. It was there, but it was obscured by some other things. So we added a couple more callouts to that area. The other thing was the deep sumped hooded catch basins that we had in the parking lot. GCG's was saying that it needed better treatment before discharge to the subsurface system because of the soil. So we modified those structures. The other thing that changed on the plan was a note regarding the snow storage that wasn't to be placed in any areas for drainage, and that excessive snow that was on the site, if there was no place to store it, was to be removed from site. They asked for a note to be placed on the plan, and it was. There was another note that they had asked for adding that the representative of the planning board be included in the review of the vegetative screening prior to the vegetation augmentation along the frontage, and the note was added. The other thing, the original tot lot that we had out there, we were looking, when we first spoke, this was last year with the church, they were looking to do a little tot lot, and the discussion came up, maybe we're going to do playground equipment. They've moved not to do that, and that was a while ago, but they're not doing it as a tot lot, no playground equipment, so it's just going to be loaned and seeded. There was another note, minimum 30 inches per square yard to be specified for the synthetic turf. Their concern was the infiltration rate. The note was added, it was resolved. They also discussed, so that note carried over into the details as well. They had a grading, their concern, we showed a contour within the synthetic turf. We explained to them, because of the accessible handicap parking spaces, there was a walkway in front of it. Now, had we left the barrier between so it's basically a weed block. It's just an impervious, like a curb almost type of thing, which would be below the height of the turf. But it separates the weeds from the grass from working its way into the turf. Had we not lowered that at that location of the field, it would be a tripping hazard. So that's how we responded back to GCG, and they note that it was resolved.
And I'm sorry, where are you in the list here? And I might have, I don't.
I'm sorry.
Where are you in the list right now, or are you following the GCG list? And I don't think we actually.
Madam Chair, I'm just blowing through their letter. But I could, if you want, I could hit on each of them. We could go right to the sheets.
Yeah, I don't think we need to, I didn't realize that so many of the changes for the April 3rd drawings were the things that you were going through with Concom that have been resolved with GCG. So
Yeah, so
I was
yes.
looking for if there was any changes to the plans that are maybe involve parking or
No,
the vegetation or something that the planning board.
Nope.
Okay,
no, Madam Chair.
okay, sorry about
So-
that miscommunication.
No problem. There are some items on the plan in their letter that they had raised that we had responded to them earlier on that, we would defer to the planning board and perhaps incorporating it as a condition in their decision. And they had echoed the same thing on different items. So the only so there's really nothing outstanding. There isn't anything outstanding on the plan. But the only things that may be outstanding are, conditions from the planning board, incorporating conditions to resolve some issues.
Right, I think we started to go through these last time, if not even got through most of them. I think we had acknowledged, talking about load, I'm going through the ones that, that here in the GCG feedback that require board approval. So the first one
Correct.
that I'm seeing is page 5, number 15 at the top, and it talks about requiring a loading area. I think we discussed last time that a loading area isn't really needed on a site like this. Is that me having planning board?
I wasn't
Weird. Okay. Yeah, so everyone let me know. The second question I think we talked about too was that is a question about whether the sign is in the side setback or the front setback.
Yeah, so it's interesting, Madam Chair. And I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, is this because the sign sits in the side setback for the other lot? Is that?
No.
No. Okay.
No. So if you wanted to go to the plan, I could show you it's a different interpretation here. And this is what I said to GCG. I said, well, rather than go back and forth, because, we could do this for years. I said, why don't we just have a condition in the decision that they need to obtain a sign permit from the building department. So if you look at this here, if you wouldn't mind zooming in for a minute. So the side yard setback, so the sign is situated up in that northwest corner. The front yard setback is 40 feet. Okay, the side yard setback is 30 feet. If we could scroll to the existing conditions plan for a second, you will see the yard setbacks. That's further up the sheet, further up into the set. One more perhaps. Here we go. So as you see, that front yard setback is 40 feet. The side yard setback is 30 feet. So we're saying that it's located within the 40-foot setback and not the side yard setback of 30 feet. So when we look at this, and this is the way I've always looked at it. When I look at a front yard setback, more often than not, they're more restrictive than sides and rears. The only exception to that is if you're in a commercial district and you want storefronts right at the sidewalk. But in this particular case, the front yard setback is more restrictive. So anytime I look at this, I would argue that along that sideline of the layout of the road, 40 feet back, everything within there is within the front yard setback. Now, once you get past that 40-foot front yard setback line, then I would say that's the side yard setback. But right now, we interpret it as being in the front yard setback. GCG says it's the side yard setback. I guess it all depends on how you look at it. And that's why, Madam Chair, we suggested that it become a condition in the decision that when they apply for a permit.
Yeah, I think for me, it depends on who your neighbor is, in a way.
Mhm.
That as the same property is owned next door, I don't see as an issue. If it was a different owner, I might not want it in that
Agreed.
side setback.
Yeah,
So,
Agreed.
so to me, it's in an okay location, but if that property ever becomes separated from the owner, they may request that the location of that sign would be contingent for me that the properties remain owned by the same person or the same entity.
hmm So there are a couple things that come into play here. So if we were to, and I looked at this, I said, so where GCG is saying, you know, we're in the side yard setback, I thought to myself, well, how do we resolve that? The way to resolve it is to move it more easterly, but in doing so, it's going to require clearing for lines of sight so that it would be visible. So this would be the ideal location here. And again, like I said, I'm viewing this as a front yard thing, and I hear what you're saying. It's, you know, which side is the neighbor? So I appreciate that comment.
Any comments from the board? That's just I have no problem with where it is now. I can see if there was a different neighbor, it might be more of a problem, but it isn't. So, so to me, it might be a condition that's, as long as the two properties remain owned by the same entity, you know, then it's fine.
And Madam Chair, again, like I said, this is kind of why I suggested that, you know, at the end of the day, they're gonna have to go for a permit from the building inspector.
Right.
So. Okay.
You're not looking to actually include, do you want that verbiage to be in there, that it has to be owned by the same entity between the two things? Because I don't think that's fair to say for further down the line when, you know, who knows how they're gonna set these up.
Well, it's true. I mean,
you know.
it's a condition that we can talk about later.
Okay,
So but I don't have any problem. I think the sign is in the right place.
Yeah.
Personally, you know, so.
I just wanted clarification on what you were saying.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
I'm not gonna get it, I'm discussing the argument. I'm not discussing how I feel about it, I guess. So, okay, and then I have, on number 20, oh, that says resolved. Oh, gee, that was where you were talking about the GCG, remember, recommends adding the planning board or its representative to be included in the review of the vegetative screening.
Correct.
I think I know the name of its representative. Becca. And so, okay. Is anyone else catching anything where, okay, planning board. All right, I think this is maybe where we were last time on page 8. It's talking about lighting. I think we were talking about that there's not lights proposed. Is that right? Lights are not proposed. Can you refresh my memory?
Sure. Light poles are proposed.
Okay.
But whether or not they're going to go ahead and install them is the question. So what they'd like to do is make provisions for it.
Okay.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be installed.
Okay. Okay. Yep. And
yeah.
there was,
Did we talk about doing a little more research on the kind of turf the last time?
yes. And that was included. I was trying to
Because
get
the GCG report references the synthetic turf in a lot of these line items.
Madam Chair, respectfully, we're kind of on a roll with the letter. We were positioned to discuss the synthetic turf tonight.
Yeah.
But, you know, seeing that we're into the letter, respectfully, if we could wrap up, you know, going through the letter and then return back to the decision to synthetic turf?
I agree, because it's a little bit just refreshing our memory, because I think we did discussing a lot of these things last time, and so we'll get right back to that, Deepa, because I think we're almost there. So there was a discussion about the lights and the height of the lights, is that right?
Correct, correct.
And talked about wanting them to be at 20 or 25 feet.
So the lights at the field are going to be at, if they're installed, will be at 25 feet. The ones at the parking lot would be at 20 feet. And this is typical of these types of facilities. Now, one of the things about, once you go higher with the lights, you need less light pole fixtures. So that was kind of, and typically when they do these, they have them at the corners of the field, which is what we had done here. And secondly, as I was saying to GCG in one of my responses, the tree canopy is going to be higher than these light poles. When you look at the activity, soccer lights during, they're going to be playing in the summer, late spring, summer, fall, and it could be a situation that, if there's a concern about the lighting, and keep in mind that the foot candle distribution on the photometrics plan shows very little spillage out into the street. That coupled with, there are light pole fixtures on the north side of the street as well. So we look at this, and there are light shields on the field lights so that they don't, light doesn't make its way out onto the street, that it's concentrated on the field. So I think there are things that we've done here to, and that was our position with GCG, was that we feel that, the lighting is at levels that are acceptable levels, at about, in some cases, 1/10 of a, or 2/10 of a foot candle out at the side. And that's nothing. If anyone, basically it's a foot, a foot candle is, so.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go into that. I apologize. There's been a lot going on the last 2 weeks, and I know we discussed this before, and been trying to wrap up the YMCA, and my head is not in this one so much, so it's taking me a little bit to get back into it. I apologize.
No problem.
So I think I get the lighting. I remember talking about it last time. What was the hours of operation? Was that about the lights? The hours of operation of the lights?
Correct.
Okay, because the hours of operation got us into trouble before. So, I want to go down that road.
We don't do that.
So I don't know what, yeah, but I guess in this, in terms of lights. Versus just when something is open. Okay.
Yes.
Is there a proposal? What would you propose? What does the applicant propose about the hours that they're going to need at this facility? What would be the, I don't know, I haven't,
Yeah,
how late are lights on at soccer fields? I have no idea, 10, 9?
Probably 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. I can't see any later than 10, that seems.
No.
Right.
And that's it. And again, Madam Chair, that comes down to the, the way the decision is written and the owner. If the church says, no, we don't want to be doing this with lights, and again, there may be a situation where, as they look at this from a cost perspective, they install the conduits, they prepare it for lights, but they don't install them because of the cost of maybe this cost of running the lights, or, so that may in itself say that any activity on the field is limited to days. So, and I understand where you guys are coming from. If it does go forward where they do install lights, you want something in your decision that regulates that. But like I said,
and I can also see us putting something in the decision that maybe is a little earlier than we would otherwise intend, but to have that in there as a starter, that lights are good until 8 or 9, but later hours can be requested once the town kind of sees what you know, what these lights feel like, what the noise is
Sure.
like, right?
Sure,
So there's an opportunity to go later once more is understood.
Just kind of in that point, is there any possibility that this field could be used for something that's not soccer? Like, will the church hold events on there? Will it's a big flat open space that could be used for all sorts of different activities or concerts, or I don't know. I'm not really sure. Just wondering if that was in the plan or if they really just want to place youth sports on it.
Yeah, I think it's more of a recreational thing for the youth, and you know, perhaps if they have a situation where there's a ceremony, a church ceremony, you know, baptisms or and the like, and maybe there's some activity, you know, they would have a luncheon or something, and everybody would gather out on the field, you know, and maybe, you know, so again, it'll be that type of thing, like church type events.
There aren't bathrooms there, so that's gonna limit,
True.
because I don't know how far, even if you open the church, I feel like it's more than, is that more than 300 feet?
Yeah, so they would, so we
you
have
don't
provided
have
that.
Bathrooms.
Yeah, so we have, and as I see it, you know, again, they would coordinate that. So they would look at it and say, okay, you know, because of the restrooms, you know, we don't go out there. So again, I think that's kind of minor at this point, respectfully. I think it's, you know, like I said, I don't see any big, you know, I don't think Springsteen's coming here. So, but I just see it limited to some church activities, no different from any other church facility.
Okay. All right, so I think that just gives an overview of where we were, I think, last time, which I think is fairly minor issues that can be obviously written into a decision. The big question that we asked about last time, I think, was the turf and better ways of doing it, not better ways of doing it. So and you've provided some information about particular products. The smart turf was a very particular product. I'm not sure about the other, it's the infill, this is about the base underneath the turf. Is that what the second document is about when it talks about hybrid infill and TPE infill?
So I am going to defer, Madam Chair,
Okay,
to Roger Martin with Greenleaf Landscaper.
okay,
And he can answer the questions specific to that.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name's Roger Martin. I'm with Greenleaf Landscaping. Yes, the question was brought up with regards to the type of turf that'll be utilized. Obviously, synthetic turf, much like a lot of building products, has had significant growth and innovation over the last 20 years. If you think back 20 years ago, where synthetic turf was, it was what we put inside our porch areas. Now you see them on professional sporting fields, you see them in parks, you see them residential and commercial landscaping, playgrounds, so on and so forth. The synthetic turf itself would be analogous to, say, like a cell phone in apps, meaning that each company makes their own proprietary turf and has their own proprietary infill. In this case, what I wanted to do was to look back on what Ashland currently has and has been using. So Ashland High School, as I mentioned last week, as well as Ashland Middle School, have a synthetic turf field. I believe they're older than 2020, and although that's only 6 years ago, there has been significant changes done to the synthetic turf for durability, for flexibility. In addition to that, the infill component itself. Earlier on, and I believe both of the fields in Ashland have what I would consider to be the base level infill in what it's referred to as SBR. You'll see that denoted there. And SBR is basically a substitute for a synthetic rubber substitute for natural rubber. And predominantly, it's made out of recycled tires. What transpired from that is they wanted to get they wanted maybe a better material that might have been more eco-friendly. So now a lot of companies are utilizing products that are like a hybrid. So using both the SBR, but in addition to that, you're also using organic materials like cork and coconut fiber and olive kernels. And then above that would be the TPE infill, which goes away from rubber. And what you're really dealing with there at that point is more like a sand material that has been engineered for its durability, elasticity, and so on and so forth. So I would say that where we're looking to would probably be something above what you currently are using in your own public fields. Since this is a private field, you know, and the innovation is just such that it's more apt to use a better product because of the environment, and then we're kind of focused on that. So we would be using something like a hybrid infill. And I gave you a technical data sheet, or I believe Wayne sent a technical data sheet from Smart Turf. So the product we would use would be something similar to this, something that is going to be easier on the joints of the children, you know, playing the sports. In addition to that, something that's going to have better drainage. In addition to that, obviously increased durability, and something that's more eco-friendly.
So sorry, so which one on this are you proposing? There's the hybrid system and the TPE system. Which one are you proposing for this project?
So again, this is why I'm saying the words that I'm using when I say hybrid infill and TPE versus what you guys have used in the past or are using currently at Ashland High School or the middle school is SBR. This is like saying Kleenex, meaning that there's within each of these are very specific products that are proprietary to whatever vendor. So what I wanted to say was that we're probably using something closer to like the hybrid infill. So it's not quite the SBR that you've used in the past, that's older technology, but something that is more eco-friendly and you know, utilizing materials, like I said, cork and coconut fiber and olive kernel. So I'm hoping I'm answering your question by saying it would be a hybrid infill, but to say specifically the type, it's really determined on the specific manufacturer of the synthetic turf.
So I think what I'm hearing is, look, the town uses a certain kind of turf at the high school. Ours is going to be better for the environment is kind of my takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest.
That's my
with you.
big takeaway. But the one thing I was going to ask you is, because you're not being specific as to the brand, and I think what you're saying is, like, there's lots that fit into that category.
Yes.
I'm not a turf expert. I don't think anyone here is. Is there a way you could just like tell us about one that might work? Like, just pick one off the internet and just kind of give us a visual.
I don't even
like,
need to do the.
Here's a
you should have the
potential that
document.
we could use, or something like it.
So
Yes, you should have that document in front of you currently.
Right, I think what he's saying is
Yeah.
what we currently use is pure rubber chrome.
Correct, yeah.
What he's proposing to use is the hybrid system, which
Right.
is a combination of
The organic
sand, rubber
materials,
chrome.
yeah.
Or, so what that percentage of each thing is
Right.
varies by manufacturer. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misinterpreting what you're saying, what the percentage is
Yeah.
proprietary by manufacturer, but ultimately it is a blend of all of
Yeah.
those things that.
But are they like, are some manufacturers like 20% organic material and 80%?
Yes.
Or is it like a 50-50 blend? And which way are you going to go is my question.
It's usually, when you're talking about hybrid material, it's usually the replacement of anywhere between 30 to 50% of the SBR, which would be the recycled
Okay.
tire rubber.
So essentially, what you're telling us is you will be using material that's 30 to 50% what's the word? Non-rubber, and is
Well,
more.
it would be the one you want to talk about, because when utilizing rubber, there are other rubber materials that are eco-friendly. It's the SBR, which was made out of recycled tire, and that's where one of the reasons why the technology came about is because of the dust that was provided by the SBR rubber. So what I'm saying is that SBR rubber will be decreased by 30 to 50%.
Relative to what we have at the high school.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's 30 to 50% less rubber than the high school.
Yep.
Which is
Yeah,
probably
that's the hybrid.
100%.
Yep.
Which is 100%.
Which is probably 100% what's at the high school.
Yeah.
Is there, Roger, is there an example of somebody using this particular recommended field in this approximate area, like one of the universities or another high school, middle school outside of Ashland?
Using what, the specific brand?
Not brand necessarily, but the style that you're
I can
talking
tell you
about.
that any new field, for the most part, any new field that's being built today is using the hybrid. There would really be no reason at all, like the fields that you guys have currently, I'm assuming that at its end of life and it needs to be replaced, you will be going to a hybrid system.
I think where, for me, like, where the town of Ashland is concerned is about the materials and the safety of the materials in regards to like the environment and what leaves the site. And so the smart turf sheet that you provided, they say on their website that they're 100% PFAS free. Right? And that's the actual turf that goes on top of the infill, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So is that the standard now? Is a lot of what we're hearing about turf fields not being good for the environment, is that really in regard to the old turf fields and not in regard to this new technology? That's what I'm wanting to know, like
Yeah, well, I think like anything else, there is a desire, obviously, for one, to have a better product, but that better product can be denoted on many things. One, durability, but in addition to that, how it's utilized in an environment. People are looking to be more green. One, the big thing we have is, how do you recycle the material, the field, when you're done, when it's at end of life? So yeah, there's now a big push towards utilizing materials that can be, when I say disposed of, in this case, recycled. So this same type of field technology that's out there now, most, if not all of it, is 100% recycled back into another field.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised that the sheet doesn't say that, because I believe the website did say that. So I think, again, like, those are the types of things that, the PFAS, anything that might go into the groundwater, anything that might be runoff, anything that might be off-gassing, those are the things that leave the project site and go out, like, to the rest of us, right? And so those are the things, like, I want to know about, and how this thing affects the community. It sounds like something like the smart turf is kind of one of the leading brands in terms of doing it safely. It seems from the little research I did on it.
Yeah,
and
it is.
And it seems like the underlayment that you're looking at, the hybrid system, isn't maybe the gold standard, but it's a silver. Is that kind of what I'm?
Well, there's a platinum if you want as well. I mean, some of the professional fields now use FIFA turf. I mean, where it's certified. There's so many. When I talk about synthetic turf fields, the technology in synthetic turf field would be analogous to talking about flooring tile 20 years ago. You had one option. Today, you can buy tile that looks like wood.
Right, and then that's why I'm wondering, like, in specifying a product, like when I go to specify a product, I need to talk about the performance grade windows, that I'm specifying. I'm wanting to know, like, so what is going to be specified, on that site?
So let me
that
ask you this
protects-
question
That
then.
protects Ashland from whatever that, the field would bring.
Well, I can assure you that the field, if we're talking about a technology using the hybrid product, the field would certainly be more suitable, more eco-friendly than your current fields that you allow the children to play on today.
Right, I mean, obviously, we're not looking to, those fields that were probably good at the time, and so we're always looking to do better, right? So it's
But the kids are playing on it today.
right, so it's
And
understand.
they'll be
right,
playing on it
wait a
again
minute,
this year.
wait a minute. Right? So it's understandable that the products are better, and that's why my questions are always like, okay, we're adding a new field, it makes sense, you don't have to water it, there's definitely environmental benefits that way. It doesn't take all the pesticides or the fertilizer to try to keep it green. But it's also understanding, okay, that it's a better product than anything we have in Ashland, great, but how good is it for the environment? What are the downsides of it environmentally? Like, that's the part I just want to, I don't see it in here. That's just the part I want to understand. They seem like good products, and that's where my questioning is going, right? So.
I have to say that, there's any town, I mean, you can go to your towns to the side of you or towns in other states. Anybody who's building a field that doesn't want to use natural turf because of the pesticides and the fertilizer and so on and so forth, and the lack of durability, are going to the synthetic fields. If you're talking about having an environmental test done, I mean, I'm assuming that there's a department within the town of Ashland that is looking into this at the very least, considering you have the same product and the same usage. And yours is a public field. This is a private field.
I get that. Does anyone understanding my question here? Because it's just am I not being clear about what I'm asking?
I think you're asking for specifications, and I don't think that they didn't pick a vendor yet. They didn't pick one. They're just telling you it's going to be better than what's currently out there. So I think that's all they're trying to say.
I think that's what I keep kind of hearing, that there's not a particular, we're not getting any specificity other than it's 30 to 40% less
Rubber.
That's all we seem to be getting.
So what you're looking for is a specific vendor.
I'm not looking for a specific vendor. I'm looking for that, hey, this study, it's like a traffic study. Like, this study that has been done on artificial turf shows that when you reduce the amount of rubber by 40%, really it's a much safer, very little gets washed off into the environment, into the water table. Like how safe is, if we go from a terrible product and to, hey, it's a 40% less terrible product, but still pretty terrible, then we probably want to know that. I'm not saying that's the case, so that's what I'm trying to understand.
No, I mean, I've been thinking about the same thing, kind of like, the standard should not necessarily be, well, it's better than what you guys have at a public field. And when you do get rid of it, you'll probably get this stuff. And I appreciate what you're saying. Like, I love the fact that if we're going to go turf, we're going to go better in town. That's fabulous. But yeah, to your point, I don't know what the standard is for private property. I'm curious to hear from Jasmine, from her experience, because I think this is the first time I, as a planning board member, see private space turf conversations. What is our jurisdiction here? Like, do we as a planning board get to decide what kind of turf gets installed? Can we what, I guess, where is our kind of boundary? Because I don't know, I've never seen this before.
I
as
don't
a-
know if there's any existing case law
Okay.
on turf,
Yeah,
but typically on a private project, you wouldn't be able to dictate the type of turf they would choose, the same way you couldn't tell them that they couldn't bring in
right,
a specific grass per se, unless you could cite that there is
But
a
like,
specific
yeah.
concern
So-
because, you know, we know that the PFAS level is at X amount and it will leach at this rate.
Right.
And then at that point, you could say due to public safety
Right.
concerns. But in speaking with our health agent, our Board of Health agent, it's something that the state actually doesn't have a very good handle on right now. That
I was
sounds like
under
at
the
state
impression
level.
Massachusetts is very concerned about the PCF
yes.
in water, and that we have pretty high levels locally.
Yes.
And so I would think theoretically, we could argue that there is kind of a public health question, whether it's town replacing it or private property, probably that did not exist at the time that we installed our own public fields turf. So that sounds like we could kind of have that conversation. So the question I would have is like, who in town can we consult with other than who you mentioned? Like, should we be talking to Concom? Do they have jurisdiction on this or knowledge base? Like,
Concom wouldn't have jurisdiction, but the
our-
Board of Health actually would be your best
Okay.
jurisdiction.
so do we want to consider that as an option, just to kind of get some feedback?
And I-
Because we don't
I
seem
could
to
have
be
him
getting
write a
much.
memo to his, I mean, what he says is basically the data just isn't there. They're aware of it and they're collecting data, but they don't have anything substantive to compare.
Like, you mean the
that.
state doesn't
The s-
have
the
like a
state- the
report
state
or
does not.
something?
So it's a conversation that they're definitely having.
they're
but it would be
having,
worth
yeah.
having Raj Gupta is our health agent, but it would be worth, I think, having at least his.
Yeah, because to me, there's a difference between like the scientific concern that this stuff like, I don't think it's anybody's denying that washing the stuff repeatedly is going to contribute these forever chemicals into the water source. I'm confident that they're so new relative to how we use turf that there's no like definitive report from the state of Massachusetts saying this is good, this is bad. Like, I know that, but that doesn't mean that it's not bad. So I kind of want to figure out
And you could
where
also
do we
ask
land on
Concom's
that.
opinion, just ask them for a memo of opinion, if that.
Exactly. I think where we lack the expertise, but we seem to have some jurisdiction over public health relative to something we're going to approve, I would seek their input, both of those entities.
Roger, I bet if you were to show us a vendor that you're likely to use, I bet they would have a ton of that information. That, you know, it's probably some marketing also, but it would probably help answer some of the questions that have been raised.
And I want to
Well-
add that what I'm hearing from the applicant is a real appreciation for being more pro-environmental, and I want to honor all that.
Yeah.
And I think it's fabulous that we're having a conversation about doing better than our community has done. Although, when the town installed it, we probably did not have as many hybrid options. So I'm not saying anything bad about the town, I'm just commenting that the part of the applicant wanting to do better, I very much appreciate, to be clear.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, and, you know, from the beginning, I think, not this meeting, but in other meetings, have been very much saying that, you know, we haven't done this before on the board. You know, I know it's a kind of a controversial topic, you know, that I don't really know that much about. So I'm trying to be educated here, and to try to understand what really are the pros and cons between these different products. So like Anna said, I appreciate hey, we're looking at good products here, but it's just trying to understand, you know, what are the cons, like, and being honest about the cons, or if it's unknown, right? So that we can make an informed decision about that. Because again, it isn't necessarily exactly about what happens on a private property. It's what happens to those things when these little pieces of these things come onto the property of the rest of us. You know, that's what I'm trying to understand. And it's not my wheelhouse and it's not my area of expertise. So I'm trying my best to look at this information and trying to understand it from that perspective.
And
So-
I asked this question right at the beginning because that GCG report asks for the product specifications, which I don't know if we had this shared with GCG at that time. So with them not having that actual product and having a stormwater management, I'm not sure if the exercise has been completed. And that's exactly why I wanted to hear about this option of what are we proposing here, because the GCG does ask for specifying the turf product, because it's a very generic synthetic turf is what's been noted. But if we had a better product, I'm guessing GCG would weigh in, and your stormwater management plan would also get reflected and probably answer a lot of your questions that you're looking at. We have a manual here in front of us, but I don't think that's accounting for this product. It's a very generic synthetic turf model.
So is that, I mean, otherwise, yeah, it's like writing specifications that things have to contain a maximum of 30% rubber or 50% rubber or whatever, it is, but if there's data that shows, hey, it doesn't really matter how much rubber it is, it doesn't do anything to 5 feet off the site, there's no remnants of that, there's no chemicals, there's no whatever. That's the kind of education we're trying to get here.
So what I'm hearing from you is that you're looking for an environmental impact study for synthetic turf. I don't know that any provider of turf will have an environmental impact study to provide. What I can say is that obviously I think all of us can recognize the fact that a lot of towns, certainly ones on the side of Ashland, are putting in synthetic turf fields because of there are obviously benefits to that as far as usage, lack of other chemicals that would be bleeding into the system, like fertilization, and so on and so forth. So if you're looking for a specific type of product, what I'm saying to you is that the components that you would have interest in knowing about would be the infill. And I'm saying that the SBR would be older technology. And what we're looking to is something that's more environmentally friendly and would be more advantageous than what you're currently using. But if you're asking me for an environmental impact study, I mean, that's something completely separate from the manufacturer. That's something dealing specifically with water runoff on the field.
So, Smart Turf, what you've given us obviously is pro lead and everything. Do they not have an EPD or HPD? Because both of those things might provide information that would be beneficial.
I can certainly
I'm sure
check
there's a turf manufacturer out there with an EPD.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and I can certainly see if I can get that information for you. I don't know whether or not they do have something like that or not.
So the only thing, I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but I just kind of started looking at state position on these forever chemicals. And I'm assuming we're all in agreement that this stuff has forever chemicals, which I think is PFAS, right?
So it sounds like the Smart Turf itself doesn't, but I don't.
It's not,
Well,
okay.
it doesn't say it on here, but when I looked on the website, it said that all of their products, I believe, are PFAS free, which kind of surprised me. But now we're not talking about the underlayment, which we don't seem to be getting that kind of
Gotcha, that kind of detail.
information, that
Okay.
kind of detail. Like, it's like, oh, no one
Okay.
studied it. It's like.
So if the underlying
can't be-
one, so I guess what you're asking really is specificity. If the PFAS is not in that one, we're in better shape. All I was going to say is apparently in January of this year, there's a bill that just got through committee at the state level to ban PFAS in various children's products, et cetera. And I guess there are 28 states that have passed laws to ban PFAS in at least one product. So Massachusetts, I guess, is making progress on this, and that could change a lot of how communities approach this. There's also 172 public water systems and 96 towns in Massachusetts that have exceeded the state's limits of PFAS, and I'm pretty confident we're one of them. Am I right on that, Jasmine? I think we're kind of not in a good place. So my thought would be, let's dig into whether what we're dealing with here in the underlying layer, if that's also PFAS free, then it's a non-issue for me. But if it does have it, I'd like a little bit more input from our public health people and Concom, just a little bit.
All right, just so that I'm clear, could you please let me know what I'd be requesting? You're looking for whether or not it has PFAS, and you're also looking for what, an EPD?
So can you define what that second part is?
Environmental
An
product.
EPD is an environmental product declaration, so it'll tell you
Like
basically.
pick a product and tell us?
It'll
Yeah.
tell you specifically for this product, everything that's in it, how it impacts the
Yeah.
the environment, whether it can be recycled.
Great, yeah, maybe
whether
pick
it's from
a
recycled
couple of
materials.
options and
You
show us
also
what
have
they
an
are.
HPD, which would be your health product declaration, which would then also, that would
Great,
dip into your PFAS and stuff.
yeah, makes sense.
So, I mean, if they have that, that's an easy way to just, here's the information
Yeah.
on what the products have in
Great.
them, and
And then can we ask Concom for input on like, how would the water part work? Like, I don't know enough about that to understand the water runoff issue. Like, who do we ask? I don't
so I
think the
think
public
that's gonna
health
come
folks
up in
would.
stormwater review with,
Okay,
if it gets reviewed at that level for,
are we doing
because,
that?
because all of these have like internal drainage under them, that basically like its own stormwater system that collects it and then,
Dumps it.
right?
Yeah, so I think they're in that process now, but Concom's, I think what
Yeah.
Jasmine's saying is like Concom's jurisdiction is
It's
to,
not-
is to talk about the water, and so
Yeah.
water isn't causing erosion, and it's
Right.
not, whatever, but it's not
Yeah.
analyzing what's in
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah.
Isn't part of their jurisdiction, and so that's a line I think they hesitate to
Yeah.
cross. right?
Understood. So
Yeah.
really, it's the public health person
Yeah.
and these particular documents, and then who's doing the stormwater part? That's coming to us?
Concom, which,
Okay.
yeah.
They're before them currently.
Great.
Haven't opened.
Okay, great.
They have it open with this product?
The information that we have is the same information that Concom has, and I don't believe they've asked.
No,
for it.
do they have that with the product that they are specifying here, or they have it as a generic synthetic turf?
They just have this generic synthetic turf information that you.
So I don't know how
these-
beneficial that is. If you're saying that's a product that we're going to use, then Concom should have that information. To make sure that when you're looking at stormwater, they have the right information with the right product spec.
Yeah.
It's their purview, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure at the high level that they look at things, I'm not sure.
Because I think the section details would have to account for what product it is, right?
I mean, look.
Excuse me,
I
Madam
think
Chair,
it's
just a question with
Yep.
respect to this, just a question
Yep.
with respect to the stormwater, through the chair.
Yep.
Is the question about the stormwater runoff from the field to down gradient areas such as wetlands, which is the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction? Is that the question?
No, we're not,
No,
we're
so-
not looking to go into Concom. We rely on them to look at that. What we're looking at, as Anna put it, is like the public safety question, right? Like, okay, the stormwater can be all managed properly, right? It's all managed properly, it's great. But what does the stormwater contain after going through this system? That's our question. This is the first one, the first fields that have been proposed for this board, and that's why we're digging into it. It's a new subject for us. We're not trying to, beat you up over here. We're trying to
No.
learn and understand. And so that's why we're trying to give you the things we don't understand and how we might better understand them. So-
Sure, and I understand that, and I guess, just for the record, what's happening with the stormwater here is none of it's actually leaving the site. This is a rare gem where there's no runoff leaving the site, no peak rates, no volume. And GCG has reviewed the stormwater report as well. I understand the permit is with conservation. My understanding also is that conservation, I'm sure they reviewed it for conservation as well. And if their letter satisfied the stormwater regulations, both at the local level and the state, I'm sure conservation will be pleased with the results of their study. So we'll find out. We'll find out.
So I kind of want to throw out my linear brain logic here for a second. To me, there's a question of, do we have jurisdiction? What I'm hearing from Jasmine is we can, in theory, control the turf because we have some jurisdiction over whether it can contribute negatively to public health. That's what I heard.
That's what it believes in the case law, but.
Okay. I
depends
think
on-
it might be helpful, if the board agrees, Madam Chair, to kind of get that confirmed with legal counsel to sort of understand what is our jurisdiction. What I'm also hearing in my own head is it seems like there's two public health questions I have. Number one is children standing on top of PFAS material to begin with. That is its own question, which seems to be developing very recently in the legislature in Massachusetts, like now, like it's happening right now, this conversation that definitely was not happening when the town of Ashland put in our own tire turf, right? So not only has the technology advanced, but the interest and the public concern and the science of PFAS has also significantly changed. So it's a fair question today. One, can kids even stand on this stuff? Would I want my kids standing on this stuff for significant periods of time? Is the kind of one public health question. And then the other public health question is the leaking of this into water, right? And to me, those are two separate public health questions that have very different causation components. Because the first causation component, we will all know without any scientific research that, hey, if kids play soccer on PFAS material, we don't need anyone to prove to us that they're being exposed, right? The second one of leaking into public water, that's where I don't have the expertise to understand, will there be that in this site? Who can we ask? It sounds like we need to ask an engineering consultant or someone, how would this work if there is potentially a stormwater system that retains the water? Could there still be leaking into public water? So to me, those are two separate causation positions that are completely different. Does that make sense? And I would want legal counsel to comment whether we have a right to look at it that way. And if we don't, we don't.
Yeah, I think those are all a really good summary, right? And that's why that's why this is kind of a learning little module here about these type of fields and what our jurisdiction is, and then what information we need to make a determination about that jurisdiction.
Right.
So,
Because if we have jurisdiction over the first part of exposing kids, and that's now public concern the way it was not when we installed it at the Ashland Fields, then it's easy for me. There's not much there to prove. Kids stand on top of bad things at the end. The second one is a little bit more tricky.
yeah, and I'm not, and I just want it to be clear, at least for me personally, I am not saying, hey, this stuff is bad, the fertilizer they put on lawns is bad too, that has a little sign, keep your kids off, right? I get it, so I'm not saying that at all. It's trying to understand and how we compare these things and how do we make the best decisions we can now. I mean, they probably made the best decisions they could for the other fields then. We need to make the best decisions we can now. So that's just what I'm trying to get my head around. So I'm very excited about a field project. I think it would be great to have in Ashland. But trying to get this information about these types of fields, that's what I'm trying to understand.
And I think for both of you, that's probably easily resolved with what's your manufacturer, what's your ingredients list, all of that. Just because that's going to help narrow down, is there anything there that we need to worry about? And if there is something to worry about, how much do we need to worry about it? Because
and what
is it really inert at the end of the day in the material that it's in, or is it something that leaches over time?
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, there's so more and more products obviously are getting those declarations because they want to be a part of that movement where so many things are going. So it seems that there has to be some out there that have these that information.
Right.
That they've done the work. They know what the, what the information is. So,
Because it is a marketing
So
thing
let me ask a question. So if we were to be talking about like, you have the technical data sheet on Smart Turf. If, and inside that information, it says that, Smart Turf has declared that their entire range of artificial grass products have showed non-detectable levels of PFAS at 100 parts per trillion, backed by an independent testing lab. Now, what does that do?
yeah, that's what I said. I saw that I looked that up myself and saw that.
So I guess, I know, but
But
you were
that's-
just saying the
that's the
technical
top
data
level.
sheet.
Yeah, that's the top level. I'm talking about, like, we keep talking about this middle level with the rubber and other aggregates and things, but there doesn't seem to be any information about that.
Okay, so you're not worried about the PFAS then?
Well,
So,
not-
the question ultimately is, we're understanding that statement to apply to the actual turf grass, the fiber.
Right.
Does that statement also apply to the fill? That's what's not clear. Is the hybrid fill also PFAS-free? Right, so the yarn, the fiber is the fill.
So on
Because
the-
even though it contains crumb rubber can mean a variety of materials, some which are less offensive than others.
Yeah, so on the list on the front page of the information on the different fills, I assume the Smart Turf is number 4, turf carpet. Right, but there's also 1, 2, 3, and 5.
So I think the bulk of the questions is related to 5. What is that infill? Generally, the subbase and the drainage, that's stone and stand and things that are organic. The shock pad also can come into play for leaching more than, because the kids don't touch the shock pad, but for leaching. So is that also PFAS-free, that material?
So the infill is that, I mean, the order seems a bit strange. The infill is, that's on top of the turf carpet?
Yeah, everything else goes in and then you like sweep the infill into it.
Oh, so, okay. So the infill with the blend of 30 to 50% rubber is the infill on top of the turf carpet?
Correct.
Okay, right. So that's the part we're trying to understand, right? We have this great turf carpet that has no PFAS in it, but then we're sprinkling something else on top of it, and that has question mark, right?
And that's the stuff that gets tracked home.
And that's the stuff that gets tracked home because it's loose. Right, so that's the info, certainly that information has to be out there.
What I'll do is I'll make sure that I contact them and find out specifically about their infill and if it has the PFAS. Is there anything outside of that you're of interest?
Well, I think while you're doing that, also the shock pad would be good to know.
I'm sorry, what is it?
The shock pad under the turf, under the
Okay.
fiber?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
the whole system, does that statement apply to the entire system?
Okay, yep.
Are you definitely going with Smart Turf, or is this just an example of who you're gonna go with?
Like I mentioned, there's so many different manufacturers of this product. When we talk about a hybrid product, they certainly are a company that we're looking at very diligently. But to say that we've made a decision on who the vendor will be, we haven't. But it's going to be at this level, at the hybrid level.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think that Jasmine, if you can just keep track of the kind of questions that we have about not the questions, more the discussion that we've had about the lights, about the sign, that there doesn't seem to be anything else here that we're concerned about. It's just this one thing that we're trying to trying to learn about. And I think then we should reach out to Concom, sustainability, say, Board of Health, and just see if they have data on this. If other parts of our community in Ashland have information on this, or have been doing research on this, or have a statement to make about this, then we would want to know, the same as we would want to know in a building. We want to know what sustainability has to say about it, so using our own, our own resources that we have. So, but that said, like I want to reiterate that I don't think anyone is, we're not trying to throw out the project. We're really trying to understand the implications so that we can make a sound decision, right?
Can I ask sort of like a very economical question? Like, how burdensome would it be to not use this kind of turf at all? And is it the cost of maintaining without the turf that's the issue? Like, from the applicant's perspective, what are the alternatives to using this stuff at all? And how expensive would that be? Is it cumbersome to the project?
I'm trying to figure out the question. Are you talking about instead of using a synthetic turf?
I guess what are the alternatives and why are they economically viable? Would they somehow jeopardize the project?
So the options for a field today, regardless of where you're at, in what township or what state, you're either looking at natural turf field, like grass that grows, utilizes water and fertilization, or you're using a synthetic turf. Those are your options.
And I guess I'm asking the first option, the non-turf option, the organic material with fertilizer, would that essentially, would that make this project not viable?
I don't know that it would not make the project viable, but it certainly would impact what the intent of the field would be. Sure, one of the things you run into, and one of the reasons why your middle school and your high school decided to go with a synthetic turf field, I'm certain of, is durability. You can go ahead and grow that grass and fertilize it, and then spring season comes about, and the kids want to get out there and play on the field, and it's got a lot of moisture in the soil, and they run on it and they rip it up within a day, and then it has to grow grass again.
Yeah, that's where Angel has a lot of some experience with this in schools, as she.
No, I'm just trying to, I know it might seem like a stupid question.
No.
But it sounds like it would not destroy the project, but it would make certain things more difficult.
I think it's also the question as we compare, like the fertilizer and the water and
the amount of water in the summertime becomes a lot to keep like a grass field with grass growing on it.
Right, the maintenance, the mowing and so and not just the labor of the mowing, but your fossil fuel powered lawnmowers. So there's all these different kind of factors, and that's why the product declaration statements, like that it does some of that homework for you and kind of compare the pluses and the minuses. This is what it does, so that at least you can make an informed decision. Like, yep, we chose the lesser of two evils, and we're satisfied with that. We're content with that, right? So. But we're just asking to provide that kind of information to educate us in that way. So, is that clear? I think that's. I mean, I appreciate the information that was sent this time. I think we were looking to take it just a little deeper. The inquiring minds want to know, right? We want to know more about this. So we'll get information from the town's end, and we would be looking for, again, a deeper level of information about the three layers of the product, I guess. It seems like the actual carpet part is more out there, more well-known, and the other parts are a little bit harder to get the information on, so. So is that, well, that's the task. I guess you have to see how difficult or you may not know yet how difficult or easy it is. But that is the ask.
Alrighty, well, we have our homework assignment.
All right, thank you.
All right, so with that said, Madam Chair, we're looking at a continuance. Do you folks have a date in mind?
Our next meeting is on April 30th. We're skipping over school break week because a couple of us won't be here and probably a lot of other people won't be here as well. So our next date is the 30th. We have a few things to do that day, but I think we can definitely be where we can have a spot for you to check in and not delay anything, if that's suitable for you.
It'll work.
Great.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate it. Have a
Right.
good night.
Great, thank you. All right, so I will make a motion to continue 240 to 260 Pleasant Street Site Plan Review to April 30th.
I'll second that.
And a roll call vote.
Deepa Venkatai.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Skip Altieri.
Paul Montesino, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. So we've already continued 55 Tilton. We've already done the meeting minutes. We've already talked about lots of stuff. Is there anything, well, first of all, I just want to, we did talk about Anna, and I guess I can just let you listen to the tape.
Yep.
But we talked about the Design
Comprehensive
Review
plan?
Committee. Design Review Committee.
Oh, yes, this draft, yep.
Yes, and we just made a couple changes. We said, instead of it made up of
Yep.
3 members, we
3 to
said 3 to
5.
5. And then a board will reappoint a new ad hoc committee before the next application. We said for the next,
Great,
you know, so that we
Yep,
don't
that's
make a
reasonable.
group until we have a reason to do so.
perfect, that's exciting, awesome.
And besides
Wonderful.
that, that'll be the text that will be ready for on the 30th, which
Great.
will be the public hearing.
Awesome,
So
good work.
the only thing we didn't do without you is the things that you would know more about, which is anything with comprehensive plan.
So the only challenge is that there was supposed to be a combined planning board, select board meeting, as you all know, that fell on Passover. The select board did not meet, I believe, and so, from what I understand from Yolanda, the posting that we had drafted for applicants for the implementation committee was made, at least in Michael's newsletter. I was gonna follow up with Michael and see if it made its way into the town website as well. Yolanda's on vacation a good chunk of this month. May is election month, and so her suggestion was that we reconvene in June to make this happen. I think that that's our reality. We can't kind of go back in time and make Passover go away. So it is what it is relative to kind of where we are. You know, that's the update. I definitely think it's really important that we create that implementation committee as early in June as possible, because once you hit late June, you're in the summer season when no one wants to do anything. Sorry, many people don't like doing things. Because it tends to be a busy time for people to travel and families, et cetera. And so my only kind of pitch is that we really work hard to make that happen and set up the committee early June to mid-June so that they can start to get to know each other in the summer and maybe get going in the fall. Because if we wait, I think the more we wait, the less likely this is to get going. So my hope is that we can make it happen in June.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of unfortunate timing of a lot of things happening at once with town meeting and the override and so much energy being put toward that. And then this committee and school break and vacation and the election. So where I don't like either that we're kind of waiting several months longer than we had hoped to. But on the other hand, it seems like that's kind of where we are. And that hopefully then with the housing production plan in place and the comprehensive plan in place, we have all the documents we need to jumpstart. You know, if not during the summer, that might be a more relaxed conversation by the chosen group. but, you know, at least by fall, that they're really deep into it, so. All right, on that update, I think everything else we're good with, so, anything else by the committee? I know Deepa and Paul both have all their signatures, all their papers in, so, welcome.
Great.
So all that's ready to go.
And Jasmine, you wanted us to sign things before we leave?
I had the decision printed, but if you'd like to close, I can grab that one.
Okay. So if there's nothing else, I will make a motion to adjourn at 10:01.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Deepa Venkata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Skip Altieri.
Paul Montesino, aye.
Angel Kazadi and I.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. All right, thanks, everybody.